For more than 2 decades, The View reigned as one of the most talked about daytime shows on television. It wasn't just another panel discussion. It was a cultural force that shaped public opinion, sparked heated debates, and inspired countless imitators. Generations of viewers found themselves drawn to its fearless commentary on politics and pop culture, all delivered by a rotating cast of outspoken co-hosts who never held back. But behind that polished on-air banter, a storm was brewing, one so intense that it would threaten to dismantle the entire enterprise.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady.
You need to defend yourself all the time. As you may heard, I filed a few lawsuits, and I'm in the court now because they accuse me of doing stuff that I never did in my life, and they wrote lies, and I will not allow that. I will fight till the end.
How could a show that once captivated millions suddenly find itself on the brink of collapse? The seeds of turmoil were planted when longtime production staff noticed a subtle shift in energy. What had once been a cheerful environment, teeming with playful banter and genuine camaraderie, began to feel guarded. People whispered in hallways rather than gossiping openly, and meeting rooms vibrated with a nervous tension that no one could fully explain. Observant insiders claimed it started with minor disagreements over segment topics, but the friction soon took on a life of its own. Rumors flew that someone, somewhere, was preparing a major legal assault on the very core of The View. At first, it was easy to dismiss such stories as just another day in the relentless world of television. But the show's more cautious staff began to keep tabs on every new rumor, no matter how outlandish it seemed. Producers tried to maintain an upbeat facade, reminding everyone that The View had weathered controversies before. They pointed out that fiery debates were the show's lifeblood. "Bold commentary keeps us relevant," was a common refrain, and they weren't entirely wrong.
His humor, his personality, his kindness, he's very special. His positivity, his energy, it's unbelievable. So we have a beautiful relationship.
What do the two of you like to do for fun if you're not working?
To have dinner, sometimes quiet dinner or dinner with friends, and listen to the music, all kind of different musics.
I hear he likes to be the DJ.
He likes to be the DJ, and
That thing needs a laugh track. It needs a laugh track.
I have to say, I was surprised when she mentioned his sense of humor. But I'm going to leave that alone and ask you all the question, will the candidate's spouses getting involved like she just did?
What?
That's what it says. That's what it says, and you know.
Audiences tuned in specifically to see conflict, drama, and brutally honest opinions. But this time felt different. Something was off. And that intangible sense of dread only grew stronger when Sunny Hostin, known for her direct, no-holds-barred style, made an on-air comment that seemed to cross an invisible line. At first, her statement felt no more provocative than usual. She had built her reputation on delivering harsh truths and polarizing takes that either delighted viewers or made them seethe with anger. The difference now was that her words targeted someone with extraordinary power, a person infamous for fiercely protecting their public image. Within hours, social media platforms lit up with reactions. Some viewers praised Sunny for speaking truth to power, while others labeled her irresponsible and accused her of endangering the show's credibility. The online debate spilled into mainstream media coverage, and the next morning's headlines hinted at serious repercussions to come. Everyone could sense that The View had stumbled into a more dangerous landscape. People from the show's legal team were seen rushing from one office to another, arms filled with papers, their faces etched with worry. The tension spread rapidly. It was no longer just about a single controversial statement. It became clear that a major lawsuit was on the horizon, and it had the potential to shake the show to its very core. The producers, co-hosts, and network executives all found themselves in uncharted territory, unsure how to protect The View from an enemy it scarcely understood. Days passed, and the atmosphere on set deteriorated. Joy Behar tried to lighten the mood with her trademark humor, but even she seemed apprehensive. Whoopi Goldberg, the usual calming presence who could steer conversations back on track, appeared unusually subdued. Staffers who had once joked about the daily drama of live TV now walked on eggshells. It was in this climate of anxiety that the lawsuit finally landed, a thick document delivered by a top-tier legal team. Word spread that the claims were massive: defamation, damage to reputation, and a demand for huge financial compensation. In the court of public opinion, The View had always walked a delicate line between bold commentary and potential overreach. Now that balance was tested more than ever. Producers scrambled to review every minute of footage where Sunny Hostin might have overstepped. What exactly had she said that triggered this level of retaliation? The details were shrouded in legal language, but rumor had it that her statements went beyond mere speculation and ventured into accusations that struck a nerve. Suddenly, an offhand remark on live television threatened the entire show's existence.
Europeans that come here that overstay their visas are undocumented, but they don't come across the southern border. So I think there's a very clear message as to what this president wants the look of a criminal migrant to look like, what an undocumented migrant. And I think that's racist.
Yes, okay, it's racist because he isn't targeting Europeans. Does she listen to herself? And this is where Sunny probably should have stopped. But no, she continued with the mumbo-jumbo, claiming living in the country illegally isn't a crime.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is, in and of itself, I think, xenophobic and racist.
And this is where her IQ, the low IQ, shows, because you actually have to legally enter a country. I don't know why it's just so hard for these loons to understand.
Advertisers, the show's financial lifeblood, grew wary. Some called emergency meetings to discuss whether continuing their sponsorship was worth the risk to their own reputations. Others quietly pulled funding, sending a disquieting message. If you're too controversial, we'll take our money elsewhere. This was a nightmare scenario for a program that depended on commercial partners to justify its massive production costs. As the exodus began, the possibility of cancellation shifted from an unthinkable rumor to a chilling prospect. Viewers noticed the unease almost immediately. The usual playful quips among co-hosts felt forced. The show's energy, once so vibrant, lost much of its spark. Even the heated debate seemed cautious, as if every host was silently weighing their words before speaking. They tried to maintain the illusion of business as usual, but the tension was obvious. In living rooms across the nation, fans speculated on whether the rumors of a looming legal apocalypse were true. Online forums buzzed with theories about the show's uncertain future. Network executives at ABC faced a crisis unlike anything they'd encountered. It wasn't simply about one co-host's slip of the tongue. This touched on the network's commitment to free expression, its responsibility to avoid defamation, and its role in shaping public discourse. Could they distance themselves from Sunny's comments while still appearing supportive of their star host? Would disciplining Sunny or issuing a retraction suffice? Or would that expose the network to further legal complexities? Every possible solution seemed fraught with consequences. As the lawsuit proceeded, more unsettling details emerged. Legal experts who analyzed the public filings described the claims as sweeping and severe. They indicated that if the plaintiff succeeded, the financial damages could cripple the show's production. Worse, the reputational damage could make The View radioactive for advertisers, celebrities, and future guests. Media outlets seized on the story, flooding the airwaves with discussions about the precarious state of daytime TV. Some pundits argued that The View had gotten away with too much for too long. Others pointed to a broader pattern of heightened accountability in media, where outspoken voices now faced real repercussions for crossing powerful individuals. Backstage, morale sank to new lows. Longtime employees who had once relished the show's lively debates found themselves longing for the days of mild disagreements over pop culture topics. Now, each passing hour brought a new piece of bad news. Another advertiser pulling out, another critical op-ed, another rumor suggesting that ABC was planning an exit strategy. Worse yet, reports surfaced that some co-hosts were quietly exploring other career opportunities. To many, it felt like the end was near, yet pockets of optimism remained. Some staffers believed that The View had endured controversies before, heated clashes, public feuds, and even near legal scrapes. Why should this time be any different? They pinned their hopes on the network's legal team, on the sheer popularity of the show, and on the unwavering loyalty of longtime viewers. But the difference was that this plaintiff had deep connections, vast resources, and an iron will to protect their image. Anyone who underestimated that combination did so at their own peril. As the court date approached, the show's producers spent late nights in marathon meetings. They discussed strategies ranging from public apologies to behind-the-scenes settlements. Some advocated for a full retraction and apology, if only to calm the storm. Others insisted that they had to stand by Sunny Hostin's right to express her views, maintaining that The View had always been about fearless honesty. A few voiced a more sobering perspective. The lawsuit might be so big that the network would decide it was cheaper to shut down production entirely rather than risk a colossal court judgment. In the midst of these struggles, The View still aired daily. Viewers watched as the host tried to address the controversy without revealing too many legal specifics. Sunny herself appeared torn. She stood by her comments, but became visibly cautious when confronted with direct questions. Critics accused her of cowardice for not doubling down. Her supporters praised her for refusing to apologize. Meanwhile, Joy attempted her usual comedic relief, but the laughter felt strained. Whoopi, often a stabilizing force, seemed more and more detached, as if mentally preparing for the show's demise. Then came the day that tabloids and news outlets had whispered about for weeks. Official word from high-level ABC executives that The View would be placed under review. Publicly, they spun this as a standard procedure. Privately, it signaled a last-ditch effort to salvage the program without letting the lawsuit escalate further. This review meant scrutinizing every segment, evaluating every co-host's performance, and deciding whether the show was salvageable under the continued threat of legal action. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If the internal review recommended cancellation, The View would vanish from the airwaves, marking one of the most dramatic endings in daytime TV history. During this turbulent period, Sunny Hostin's personal life became a headline story. Paparazzi followed her every move, eager to capture even a flicker of stress. Speculative articles claimed she was looking into independent media ventures, like launching a podcast or exploring digital platforms where legal constraints might be less restrictive. Her critics declared she was getting what she deserved for her unfiltered approach, while her admirers argued that she had only spoken her truth. Regardless of where public sentiment fell, one fact was indisputable. The lawsuit had become about more than just Sunny's remarks. It represented a fundamental question about the balance between fearless commentary and the looming specter of legal retribution. As the tension climaxed, the network's financial predicament worsened. Sponsors who once lined up to advertise during The View's prime segments were now pulling out in droves, citing the uncertainty surrounding the show's future. Even viewers sensed that the program had lost its spark. Ratings dipped noticeably, suggesting that the audience's appetite for drama didn't extend to watching a beloved show potentially implode under legal pressure. It was a grim sign that the excitement of controversy had morphed into discomfort with endless legal drama. Meanwhile, gossip magazines relished every detail. They published unauthorized tell-all stories about what was happening behind the camera. Alleged insiders claimed that certain co-hosts felt abandoned by the network, while others were quietly blaming Sunny for the entire fiasco. The show's internal bond, already frayed by stress, began to unravel completely. Mutual trust eroded, replaced by fear that any casual remark could be turned against them in a legal context. It became painfully clear that The View was no longer the unified ensemble it once was. Finally, after weeks of speculation, ABC made a momentous announcement. Production of The View would be suspended indefinitely. This suspension fell just short of an outright cancellation, but was understood by most industry watchers to be the final nail in the coffin. The network cited the need to carefully address ongoing legal matters as their official reason, but everyone knew it was more complicated than that. The show's unstoppable momentum had met an immovable obstacle, and it was unclear whether either side would yield. In the days that followed, daytime TV underwent a seismic shift. Other shows raced to fill the void left by The View, adjusting their formats to include more lively debates and outspoken hosts. But none could replicate that original spark the show had delivered for so many years. People realized that The View was more than just its controversies. It was a national stage where clashing opinions and bold personalities collided daily. Its abrupt absence left a noticeable gap, and even critics who once cheered for its downfall started to miss the unfiltered energy it brought to daytime broadcasting. Sunny Hostin's fate remained uncertain. Industry analysts debated whether she would embark on a legal battle of her own, perhaps countersuing for damage to her career. Others speculated that she might pen a memoir detailing the behind-the-scenes drama. A few insiders believed she would quietly settle into a low-profile life, worn out from the endless scrutiny. Regardless of the outcome, the lawsuit tarnished her reputation in a way that no other controversy had. She had always been bold, but now she faced an adversary who saw her boldness as a threat. As for her former co-hosts, each pursued different paths. Some stayed in television, leveraging their fame to launch spin-off shows or join established programs that promised less drama and more stability. A handful tried to reinvent themselves in digital media, vowing never again to be confined by corporate constraints. Others stepped away from the spotlight to focus on personal projects or spend time with family, disillusioned by the harsh realities of network politics. Over time, they each shared fragments of their stories, painting a complex portrait of a show whose internal workings were far more chaotic than viewers ever realized. In retrospect, media scholars began referring to The View's downfall as a major turning point in how talk shows handle free speech and legal boundaries. They pointed out that while the show had thrived on provocative content for years, the rules of engagement changed dramatically in the era of instantaneous social media backlash and powerful individuals ready to litigate over any perceived slight. That single lawsuit became a symbol of the peril that talk shows, podcasts, and other opinion-driven formats face if they step too close to the line. Naturally, discussions emerged about whether this signified the end of truly candid daytime television. Some argued that the fear of being sued would force other shows to self-censor, resulting in watered-down discussions devoid of real substance. Others believed that new platforms and independent media ventures would fill the vacuum, offering an even freer space for those unafraid to speak their minds. Whichever vision prevailed, one fact was clear. The View had left an indelible mark on the industry. When ABC officially confirmed the show's cancellation months later, few were surprised, yet many were still saddened. In the press release, the network thanked the fans and acknowledged the show's long history, focusing on its impact on daytime television and cultural conversations. But it avoided mentioning the lawsuit that had triggered the final downfall, as though refusing to acknowledge that one huge controversy could topple such a storied institution. Viewers, meanwhile, shared nostalgic clips online, reminiscing about the show's funniest moments, its most intense arguments, and the rare instances when the co-hosts found consensus on important issues. The story of The View's collapse is ultimately about more than a single legal dispute. It's a cautionary tale of how quickly a media giant can stumble when powerful interests collide, legal accountability tightens, and the financial support of advertisers evaporates. It shows that even a program with millions of loyal viewers can crumble if it becomes entangled in a scandal that challenges fundamental questions about truth, responsibility, and the limits of free expression. The View was, in many ways, a product of its time, a show that thrived on pushing boundaries until it pushed one boundary too far. Yet, its legacy endures. For 2 decades, The View set a high bar for live, unscripted exchanges that captured the public imagination. It proved that daytime TV could be more than fluff pieces and celebrity gossip. It could be raw, real, and unafraid to tackle the issues that mattered most, even if that meant wading into controversy. Now, in the aftermath of its downfall, other programs are left to grapple with the same question that haunted the show's final days. Where is the line between fearless discourse and reckless risk? Time will tell if another show will rise to fill the vacuum left behind. In the meantime, the cautionary message rings loud and clear. Bold words can carry dire consequences. For Sunny Hostin and the other co-hosts, the quest to rebuild their images and careers is ongoing. Some will undoubtedly bounce back, propelled by their brand of audacious commentary. Others will fade quietly into the background, disillusioned by how swiftly a media institution can come undone. Either way, the lessons gleaned from this saga will influence how future talk shows manage controversies and how they weigh the cost of speaking too freely. So, where does this leave viewers who once turned to The View for their daily dose of candid conversation? Some have scattered to new shows, searching for that same lively spark, but finding only hints of what they once knew. Others have sworn off daytime talk altogether, feeling that the industry has become too sanitized or too perilous for genuine dialogue. A few remain hopeful, believing that the next iteration of fearless television is just around the corner, perhaps online, perhaps on an entirely new platform, ready to challenge the status quo in ways The View once did. In the end, the show's cancellation stands as a stark reminder of the evolving landscape of media in the digital age, where accountability is swift, lawsuits are potent, and reputations can pivot on a single comment. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this deep dive into the rise and fall of a daytime giant intriguing, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more stories like this, and stay tuned for our next exploration into the ever-shifting realm of media and entertainment. Because if one thing's for certain, it's that the world of television has plenty more secrets waiting to be uncovered. And the lessons we learn today will shape the shows we watch tomorrow.